Somebody said this years ago, being a church member is a way of life. It means participation in a web of hospitality, living at the intersection of human need and God's grace, inhabiting a community where men and women who don't fit are welcomed, where neglected children are noticed, where the stories of Jesus are told, and people who have no stories find that they do have stories, stories that are part of Jesus' story. Being a church member, listen to this, places us strategically yet unobtrusively at a heavily trafficked intersection between heaven and earth. This is supposed to be the closest you will ever get to heaven on earth until it comes down in the New Jerusalem. How do you do it? Well, he says at the end, you can name all of these different gifts. Some have a gift of teaching. Some have a gift of mercy. Some have a gift of administration. But look at how he closes it right before he goes into 1 Corinthians 13, which we'll have to hit. I guess we could hit that for Advent on the way of love. He says, I will show you a still more excellent way. Beyond teaching, beyond preaching, beyond administering and mercy and all these other things. He says, I'm going to show you a still more excellent way. And where does he go? Remember the text in context. He goes to 1 Corinthians 13, the way of love. He says, even if I could do all of these things, if I had faith to remove mountains and I gave my body to be burned and I bestowed all my goods to feed the poor and have not love, I am nothing. What's the greatest thing you can do? Show the love of God to other people. Live in His love for you and demonstrate that love for others. And that's the greatest example that we can ever have as the body of Christ. So next Sunday, we're going to be together as we consider how to give for Stewardship 2025, going into the next year, how we can be good stewards of the resources that God has given us in the area of time, how we're spending our time, talent, how we're using what God has given us for His glory, and our treasure, how we are financially being stewards of what God has given in tithes and offerings. And then what that encompasses is ultimately our testimony. That's my story. That's your story of how God is working in my life and how He can work in your life too.